Dear Class 5, today is our environmental education class, and we are going to learn about Lesson 12, Care of Public Properties, page 55. Do you know the meaning of care? Care chu enge omzia, care chu enkol tina ania, public ani chuan mi pui thil, vantlang thil tina ania, mi mal thil nilo ang chi kha, vantlang ina kan in trom ang chi kan man ho chi ang te. Kan kal ho theina ang chi te kan en ho thei ang chi khang kha public tina ania properties ani chuan bungrua emo thil mun te po aniang care of public properties ani chuan mi pui thil vantlang thil entin nge kan en kolang dim doi takin entin nge kan en kol theiang chu kan zir tur ani. Now let's go on to our lesson. Open a book on page 55 and read along with me. In textbook hello ke ve ula page 55 kha ka chia rualin in lo chiar venga a omzia hria thiam kan tum don ni o. In our cities and towns, there are a number of places like parks, clubs, gardens, museums, roads, markets, hospitals and schools which are used by the general public in a number of ways. In villages we have ponds, wells, schools, panchayat ghar, etc., which are used by the villagers. Such places which are used by the general public are called public places. We use some of these places like markets, roads, schools, wells and ponds in our day-to-day life, while we visit some other places like parks, clubs and museums for recreation and learning. Voina kan zir tur public properties a hian kan la kal ngai lo na hmun te, kan la hmu ngai lo te, kan ram om ve lo te po a om mai theya. Ama ro chu ram danga te chuan a oma ram changkang zoka te oma then khat te ro chu thingtlang chaw omte ania amai ro chu nakina kan lakal ve mei theya chu hmuna kan kal huna kan hriat turte ani dona wangin kan tan a poimo em thawani kan khopui te khochi rang te en taila chu ate chuan park te kan neya park chu vantlang len wa na huan mun nuam tak mun zau tak kha ania aizola chuan Falkland Park te oma lal savunga park lim ena te le mun rang te po park omang lalat park te po la om tianga te chuan kan kal to mai thei ta chuan ril ru ti thoveng tur le in ti hlim tur ten kan kal thina clubs awma clubs chu kan hriat thiam thei dan tur ber chuan mi tu te monikha pola anin siama member te ania member ni te ngaya chung chuan in ti hlim na hun te anneya tianga te chuan kal thina gardens chu kan hriang tro huan zau taka chuan ril ru ti thoveng tur ten kan kal thina ni museums te oma aizola po museum kan neya thil hlui tak te le thil makdang lam tak te anda khom thina mit atlei thina roads motor kong te oma markets Dawrpui thil zorna hmun pui tianga te chon kan kal thin tong tiro hospital oma damdoi in ania school chung te chu anol puya mi pui van tlang te na kan man thei te ania thingtlanga te chuan ponds oma ponds ani chuan tui khwa ha khotlang mi pui khan an hmang tangkai em thina well soma tui chun chua ania school te awmba ka panchayat ghar omboka panchayat ghar chu lesson 5 public services a hangan sei to a kan zir to a every village has a panchayat ghar kan tia 5 members elected from the village ania local council kan ti te village council kan ti ang chi kha ani tin chu ba ka thil dang chi sang vantlang thil thingtlang mi tena an man tangkai em alo om teu bokani chung mun chi sang kan han sei tak vantlang mi pui tena tangkai ta kan man thin chu public places ti chu ania vantlang mun ti na ani chu ni tina kan momo le kan man tangkai em te chu market bazar mun te kalkong motor kong te school te tui chun chhuat te le tui khwa te hi tangkai em a adang parks te clubs te le museum te chu hun ola inti hlimnan te le thil zirna tan te kan hmang tangkai em bokani. Now let's continue reading. But just building these public utilities is not enough. Without proper care and maintenance, these facilities would soon break down and people using them will face a lot of difficulties. While there are people employed to take care of most of these places, we as responsible users must use these places with care and not misuse or spoil these places. Khang public utilities chi rang kanan soi tak te kha building an ni emo mun an ni emo ama om top building thatak mun thatak om top kha ala tok lo ni kan zir ber tur chu en kol na thatak om lo chuan reilo te a alo chhia anga mi pui amang tu te tan po har sana chi rang min thlen thei ani tin chung mun tam taka chuan en kol tu a thlang puinan om deuh veka khang enkol tu kha an tok mai lo ani keima ni mi pui te kan poimo em a mi pui te chuan enkol na tha kan pe ka nga ya dik lo tak le thil thalo ti nan kan hmang tur ani lo a tin kan ti kholowin kan ti mel hem tur ani lo bok ani. Let us learn about some important public places and how we can help in protecting them. Public places trend khatte kan ziranga entin nge tlo tak ani theinan kan enkol puyang emo kan ven puyang. Parks and public gardens. Parks and public gardens are places of recreation. People go there to refresh themselves. Many people use parks in the morning and evening to do physical exercises. Parks and gardens give us fresh air and also keep the temperature of surrounding places low. Park 2 kan soi to ang khan van tlang len va na huan moi tak kha ani a ram sahum hal na huang te pon ni thei tho ani. Garden 2 huan kha ni le me a. Parks and public gardens are places of recreation. Recreation kan ti chon kan thrilar viau mai theya amai ro chu enge ani te po kan lo la hrelo mai the ni. Recreation chu hun all kan leya kan va in ti hlim na kha recreation chu ania. Recreation center kan thrianga recreation center a chon kan va in fiama game te kan va khel thin ani kha. Ti chuanin parks le public gardens a te chuan kan va in ti hlim thina places of recreation tina ani chu. Park le garden te chuan boruak thiang hlim min pe a tin na chevel boruak te ati dai nuam em a chu wang chuan mitam takin jing lama te tlai lama te exercise lang nan an phang thin ani. We get to see varieties of beautiful flowers and plants arranged in beautifully designed rows and patterns. There are also water channels and fountains in the park which add to the beauty of the park and also keep the air cool. Well-maintained grass lawns and benches in the parks and gardens help the visitors to relax. Variously colored lighting make the fountains colored and also keep the park lighted for the safety of visitors. These look pleasant to our eyes. We must not destroy the beauty of our parks. We must follow some rules to keep our parks clean and green. Park le garden akan kalchuan pangpar moi tak chi rang moi taka lo rem fel emo lo tlar that te kan hunga athen te chu azia rang nei ang te an lo chei te po kan mu thinang chu ba ga chon tui om senei taka an luan koi tir te kan huanga park te ati moi em a tin fountain te kan mu thinanga fountain kha kan rem tui a phing phi siaw zonga chik tura tui nan siam thin kha fountain chu ania chung chuan park te le garden te ati moi em a boruak ati dai nuam em thin bokani uluk tak enkol phai tual nim tro mun zol nuam tak te le thu thleng se ate chuan mi pui tlo tu te an chol ha dam thin ani tin fountain then khat te chu light rong chi rang moi tak takin an che thina chung light rong te chuan mit men te ati ha damin ati nuam em a chu wang chuanin kan park se hi kan destroy turani lo kan ti che turani lo kan hum him thlat turani. We must follow some rules to keep our parks clean and green. Kan park te thiang hlim tak alo ni theinan le hring moi tak te alo ni zel theinan dan zom tur then khat te kan nei ani. Number 1, do not pluck flowers and leaves. Parka pangpar moi tak te le nim then khat te chu kan lowin kan pot phoi mai turani lo. Number 2, do not ride bicycles or play games on grass. Phai tual nim nuam taka chuan thir sakor te kan khal turani lowa tin kan in fiam turani bok lowani. Number 3, use dustbin to throw wrappers of chips, ice cream and other waste. Kan thil pai tur kan thil eina ning noi chi rang te chu dustbin a kan pai zel turani. Number 4, use the swings and other equipment provided in the park for amusement with care. Parka pipu baka kan ti hlimna turata na an thil da hrim de chu uluk takin kan enkol turania kan ti chemei turani lo. Number 5, do not damage the lights. They are for your safety. Mi pui te kan himna turata na anti en lights te chu kan ti chemei turani lo. Number 6, do not jump into the water pools. It could be dangerous. Park then kata chuan pool dil te emo tui khwa te om thina chung te chu a hlom em a zuan thak ngot turani lo ani. Number 7, do not take dogs in the park. They might dirty the park. Park kan kalchang chuan ui hruai velo turani. Inga tinge kan ti chuan ui chu an har em a thil eng moni te an lo se a le kha ten lo se noya nim ten lo peta chu wang chuan park kha an ti top thina dog chu hruai lo tur tina ani chu. Next we have orchards. Orchards are huge fruit gardens. There are hundreds of orchards of fruit like mango, apple and orange in our country. These orchards grow these fruits in large number for both internal use and export. They earn a lot of money for our country. This money, in turn, is used for the development of our country. There are also vegetable and flowers gardens where various types of vegetables and flowers are grown in large quantities. Orchard chu thei huan zau tak tina ania kan rama chuan thei hai te apple te serthlum te an ching tlang puya chung thei hai te apple te serthlum te chu ram chunga te le ram pona te na sa takin an phal chuak thina ni chung an phal chu atang chuan kan ram tan poisa tam tak an lak lu pha chung poisa te chu ram haso na tura tan an hmang thina ni tin thlai le pangpar huan te a awm boka chung huana te chuan thlai chi hrang te le pangpar chi hrang te an ching ve bok thina ni. Fruits and vegetables are necessary for good health. They provide vitamins and minerals which help us to prevent diseases. They also provide us with nutrients that produce energy in our body. Thei le thlai te kan ngai na lowa kan ei chak lo ani poin kan ei lui hra mangai ani a chan chu mihring tan a tha em a chakna pai thil te an pai veka taksata na chakna om vitamin le mineral te an pai hnem em awangin kan ei chuan na hri laga te min venga tin chakna tha hrui min pe bokani. So while visiting an orchard or garden, we must take care. Number 1, not to damage or destroy any orchard property. Orchard ami re reng chu engma kan ti chatura ni lo. Number 2, not to pluck fruit without permission. Phalna kan nei ani lo chuan eng thei ma kan lo ngot tur ani lo. Number 3, not to pluck flowers or unripe fruit in any circumstance. Eng chan wang ma in pangpar te le thei min lo te chu kan lo tur ani lo. Number 4, not to damage saplings. Mun then khata chuan thing tuai te takte te naki na thingkung emo theikung thatak lani tur tam tak om thina chung te chu kan ti chatur ani lo. Number 5, not to throw garbage or non-biodegradable things around the orchard. Orchard ta chuan bolhlo emo thil thoi theilo te kan pei mai tur ani lo ani. Number 6, not to waste or pollute the water being used for watering the plants and trees. Plants le trees te ta na tui an pek na tui te chu tu lova kan khoral mai in kan ti bolhlo tur ani lo ani. Ponds. Ponds are used for various purposes like bathing, irrigation and growing fish. In villages where the public water supply system has not reached, wells and ponds are sometimes the only source of water. We must take care of these water bodies. Here are some ways in which we can help to keep ponds and rivers clean. Ponds chu tui in khuap tui khwa kha ania. In bual nan ten, thlai tui pek nan ten, sangha khoi nan ten atangkai em ani. Thingtla nga te chuan tui connection an nei ve lowa. Chu nga te chuan ponds te le tui chun chua te hi atangkai em a an tui mu na om chuna nia chu wang chuan heng water bodies te hi kan kher tur ani a kan enkol uluk em tur ani a. Ti chuan in ponds te le tui luang lai rivers te entin nge thiang hlim takin kan enkolang kan zir don ani. Number 1, do not throw waste products into ponds. Ponds a chuan thil ning noi emo thil trop tak te le bolhlo te kan pei mai tur ani lo. Number 2, do not defecate near the source of water. Tui bul hneya chuan kan mai tur ani lo kan daileng mai tur ani lo ani. Amakom ti ro khatianga han dailen mai te chu. Mun then khat changkang lo tak om na te a chuan arem changa han ek mai te hi an chinga a bik takin khu vai then khat te po khu rem changa ek mai te hi an chinga ek an thla da em a khang kha kan ti tur ani lo ani. Number 3, do not wash dirty utensils and clothes in the pond. Tui khwa chuan kan bung bel te le kan thom hno te kan sureng tur ani lo. Pond thiang hlim tak kha kan ti bol hlo thin ani. Number 4, do not take bath or allow animals to bath in the pond. Instead, water from the ponds can be taken out a small distance away into a small tank for such uses. Pond ta chuan kan in bual tur ani lowa kan ran te po kan bual tur ani hek lo. Kan ti du ani chuan pond ta tangin tui kan khai chhokanga hun hla deuh hleka kan ran te kan bualanga kan in bual mai don ani. Number 5, the ponds have to be maintained at regular intervals to keep the water clean. Ponds te chu dan anga nein tui alo thiang hnim reng thei nan ti 5 thin tur ani. Number 6, dirty water should not be allowed to flow into the pond by any means. Engkong mang po in tui bolhlo te chu pond ta chuan kan luan lu tir tur ani lo ni. Number 7, unwanted weeds must be cleared periodically to keep the water clean and allow the growth of fish. Sangha te an lo than len theina tan le tui lo thiang hlim zel theinan hun binein akha tokin tui hnim to te chu ti 5 thin tur ani. Number 8, silt must be removed in regular intervals to maintain the depth of the pond. tui khuan huaya chuan chir lei hnol tling khom om thina chung te po chu hun bineya akha to ka ti fai fo thin turani. Number 9. Slopes and water channels should be made in such a way that rainwater flow into the ponds. Ruwa asur changa tui khua tui thataka luan lu theina turin tui khua tlang zei te chu ti oi turani baka tui luan kor thataka siam turani. Now we have wells. Wells are dug to get underground water. This water is used for drinking and other purposes. We should not contaminate well water by throwing garbage or any other waste material into the well. The well should be lined with cemented wall from the inner side. The well should have a raised boundary wall and a cover on the top. It is safe for small children and stray animals. The well should be cleaned with the help of bleaching powder at regular intervals to keep the water fit for drinking. Well chu tui chun chu ania lei hnuai thuk tak an zuk laia ta chuan tui thiang hlim tak an zulai chuak thina chung tui te chu ina tan te le thil chi hrang hrang atan kan hmang thina ni chu wang chuan well chu thil bol hlo te nom nok te pein kan ti bol hlo mai mai tur ani lowa tui chun chua chung bang chu cement in an chung khat vek thina tin a chung nei nan siam thina atlang hung na chu sang de hlekin an siam thina a chan chu no pang te le animals te an tlak mai mai lo na tur ta ani tui chun chua chu ti fai fo lo chuan alo bol hlo thina chu wang chuan hun bin nei in akha tokin bleaching powder mangin ti fai fo thin tur ani. Now we have sanctuaries. Have you ever visited a zoo? Sahuan in tlo to ngayem in kal to ngayem athen chu in kal tong tiro athen te chu in la kal lo ani mai thaya rem chang ma sabera kal nge in tum don nia. Animals and birds of different kinds are kept in zoos. These animals are kept in cages so that they cannot harm anybody. Sahuana chuan ran sachi hrang hrang te le sawachi hrang hrang te anda thina then khatte ro chu ke cha te anda ngai thina ni achan chu midang te antina thina a then an lo sea a then an lo pot boy thina chu wang chuan ke cha an khung thina. A sanctuary is also very much similar to a zoo, but the sanctuary is spread in a much bigger area and animals and birds live in their natural environment. Sanctuary chu sahuan ne na in ang teu hlea amaro chu sahuan ne na in an lo na chu sahuana chuan ke cha te ran satam tak te an khung angai thina sanctuary chu mun zau tak ram hnuai ania ta chuan animals te le birds chi hrang hrang om te po chu an dan pa ngai anga an chetlat ang chin an chetlat tira. A sanctuary is different from an open forest in that the environment of the sanctuary, including its plants and animals, are protected by laws. Animals and birds are not kept in cages in sanctuaries. Sanctuary chu ram hnuai pa ngai ne nei ang lowa sawa te le animals si hrang hrang te po chu ke cha khung an ni lowa sanctuary a thingkung te le thil to te ba ka animals zong zong te chu dan in a hum thlatani thingkung te kitin mau te lo sa taila ran sa then khat te lo thatin lo tin na taila sarkarin min man theya min choi tir theya zela te min khung theya ni. While visiting a sanctuary, we must not disturb these animals and birds by creating loud noise or coming in their way. We should not try to feed these animals. We should not cook food in a sanctuary because sometimes when a fire is not put out completely, it can cause a forest fire. Forest fires have been a major cause of destruction of forests and wildlife. Sanctuary chu kan la tlo lo mai theya nakina lekha kan zil zelanga kan tlo hun chu alom ve don ani chung kan tlo huna chuan animals om te chu kan ti buai turani lowa le kan kal khan beng ching te kan siam turani lowa an bul hnaya te kan kal turani lo bokani tin animals om hrim hrim te chu engma ei tu kan pe turani lowa cho te kan chhum turani lowa mei kan chem turani lowa achan chu tun thleng hian forest le wildlife ti chereuna poi tak chu forest fire si ani thlata kan mei chem te thenin kan lo ti hlum chiang lowa kan kalsana chung chuan ram atikang thina animals tam tak ten in te an nei lo pha tam takin an thi pha bok thina ni. Hunting is illegal in a sanctuary, so we should discourage people from hunting wild animals and birds. We should not pollute the water sources in a sanctuary by throwing garbage or non-biodegradable materials into them. Sanctuary ramwa hi phallo ania chuwang chuan midang te po ramwak lo turin kan hril angai ani tin sanctuary tui om te chu ransa tena an tlan berani wangin kan ti bol hlo turani lowa bol hlo te le thil troi theilo te kan vom lut mai mai turani lo ani. Museums are buildings used for preserving and exhibiting things of historical, scientific and cultural importance. Museum chu manlai thil hlui hlutak tak te le mihring finna atanga thil siam makle danglam tak tak te ba ka namzia thil poimo tak tak te von that na le mipui en thei tura tarlan na hunani. Things exhibited in museums are precious and we should be careful while seeing them. We should not touch these things. Loud noise can also be harmful to the old exhibit over a long period, so we should not make too much noise in a museum. Museum an thil tar chhuat te chu thil hlu tak tak te ani wangin kan endpoint kan film khur hle tur ania chu wang chuan khoi kher te kha tum lo tur ania thil tar chhuat te chu hlui tak kum rei to tak ami te ani wangin bengcheng te siam lo tur ania bengcheng kan siam te khan khang te khan a lo tuar theya a lo chiat pha thei ani chu wang chuan museum a chuan bengcheng siam reng reng tur ani lo ani. Intense light like camera flash lights can also damage all sculptures and paintings. Light eng tak en tirnan camera flashlight te hian museum chunga milim ker anda te le painting then khate chu ati chethei ani chu wang chuan man lo tur ani thla kan lak khan kan ti eng pup tur ani lo ani. So where prohibited by law, we should not take photographs inside the museum. Mun then khat thalak an phal lo na hmuna chuan thla kan la tur ani lo ani. Historical monuments. These are special places with historical importance. Historical monuments are not just like any other old building. These are special places that inform us about the people and societies of the past. They have withstood the forces of nature over hundreds of years to tell us about the glorious times when these were made. It is our duty to protect them from destruction. We should not write anything on the walls of these monuments. Such acts spoil the beauty of the monuments. We should take all possible steps to protect and preserve these monuments for our future generations. Malai chanchina mun poimo dang lambik tak ania. Historical monument reng chu building hlui satli ani vengot lova. Hun kalto malaya mi hring te le van tlang mi pui te chanchin te le an khosak dan ba ka anun phung le mi zia te thlengin min hriat tir thei ani. India rama historical monuments kan nei then khat te chu Taj Mahal te Qutub Minar te Golden Temple te Gateway of India baga adang tam tak ten la omani. Mizoram po sarkari na monument ahum haltlat then khat te chu Sibutalung te Zolpala Thlan te Tualvungi Vok Thleng te Khuang Chera Puk te Lungleng Lal Khamlian Asai Lo In te Lamsial Puk te Lian Chiri Lunglen Tlang Thasia ma seno nei na baga dang tam tak te alo omang. Chung te chu Mizoram kan mun poimo nei te an nia. Kum tam tak chung khli te ruwa te trek te lir nging te le thil dang dang in ati chiat lo thina wangin heng historical monuments te hi ahun laya an siam dan Dawrpui zia ati langani. Chu wang chuan heng monument poimo tak tak te hi a hlu ani ti hria in ti chiat emo a mel hem theina konga kan ven him hi kan duty kan ti tur ania. Tin heng monument reng banga te hian engma kan ziakin kan thai nok tur ani lowa. Thil thai nok om chuan monument moina te a hlut na te ati chethin ani. Chu wang chuan kan theina chin china kan vengin kan hum halba ka avon thatna konga thei top kan suawe thin tur ani.